Hi, I'm Kristen Russell, and my journey into coaching and emotional intelligence really began way back in 2012 when my first husband was diagnosed with cancer. So as you can imagine, extremely tough. We had two small children aged 4 and 2 at the time, and our world was so uncertain, and the next couple of years were filled with so much anxiety and so much sadness and just not knowing what the future would hold for us. Until in 2014, he passed away in my arms. So I lost my husband, the father of my children, my rock and my protector. And I was left alone in a world where I had to bring up 2 children and take on 2 roles as mum and dad, and I didn't know how to do that. I spent the next few years running from my trauma and bearing so many emotions within me, because I truly believe that if I was vulnerable and expressed how I was feeling, then it would be a weakness. And of course, I couldn't be weak, not when I had 2 children to look after. So it wasn't until my second husband was doing a training course and he took me away and he was telling me about it, and I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I would love that. That is me. He's describing me. Prior to Greg being sick, I was very driven. I had a role in project management and I managed and led many, many people. And I knew that was deep inside. I just knew I had to find it. So once I'd made the decision, there was no stopping me. And of course, the walls that came up were knowing or not knowing, more to the fact of how deep the inner work really had to go. And the more I worked through it, the more it just kept coming and more obstacles that I had to work through. The growth that I experienced from that is absolutely phenomenal. And right now I feel alive and I feel joy, and I finally allowed my walls down and allowed other people in, which is truly, truly amazing. So of course there was inner conflict along the way. I had doubts. I was so uncertain whether what I was doing was totally right for me. However, I kept going back to my why. Why was it that I really, really began this journey in the first place? And for me, it was to share my experience and share that it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to let people in and express emotion. You're a human, right? You're totally human. There were many sleepless nights and there was many uncertainty, but I would always go back to my why. Why was I here? Why was I doing this? I'm extremely lucky. I'm so lucky. I'm truly, truly grateful. I'm fully healed from my trauma. I now have the tools to be able to work through whatever pops up for me and not try and suppress it like I normally would. I know how to manage my reactivity. I know how to show up for the people around me and how to be there and how to have amazing connections and relationships. My biggest achievement is the relationship that I have with my children and my husband. My husband, I realized that I never fully let him in. That I had this wall that he couldn't penetrate because I was so frightened of losing him, as I'd lost my first husband. So what would I become if I'd lost him too? And my children, my goodness, they're so emotionally intelligent. I love it. And I love that I've taught them that, and I've taught them the tools to be amazing humans as they enter the world. I'm truly, truly grateful. I have a business I love. I have thriving clients that absolutely have changed their life. I have the best connections and the best relationships around me, and I truly feel connected to myself, more importantly, and that of the people around me.